Oh, for the love. Sorry, just clearing my Mountain Dew hole.
I got my phone hole cleaned today.
That's where you keep it?
You're so cerebral and you're so developed and evolved. From the middle after dark over here.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 58 of From the Middle. We are three middle-class guys living in the middle of America, in the middle chapter of life, with a point of view somewhere in the middle. If you've never tuned into our little podcast here before, we're comedy and culture, I guess. I don't know. It feels like the easiest way to describe. Sometimes it's this, a little bit of that, sugar, spice, everything nice.
Yeah, I think one of the early working titles was Just Three Dudes. Because we thought, I mean, what better way to describe it than just three guys in, the middle of America talking about life.
Mm-hmm. We'll put it this way. Every other person on your Facebook network that's told you they made a podcast about nothing with just three guys, it's like that.
Right. Only better.
It's good, but like that.
We're special in that we haven't given up.
we just like to talk about
doing
sports and movies and TV shows and like things we're into, video games,
and beatboxing.
Yeah, I mean, just totally normal guy stuff. It's like whatever we talk about, whatever.
It's your boy.
Yeah, exactly what Kendall said. So I am one of your three hosts, Dylan. One of those other boxes somewhere is my brother Corey and our good friend Kendall. And we are From the Middle podcast. So that's the introduction. Did I do it all?
That was perfect. Well done. Thank you very much. If you're watching us on YouTube, you will notice that we have matching hats. So shout out to Jeff Piles over at Artistman, who sent us this box of his 3 brand new hats that he has made. And with a little note in there that said, you guys definitely need some podcast hats. So thank you, Jeff. Artistman is awesome. I've been using the beard care men's grooming products now for a couple weeks. I feel a difference. They smell amazing. Funnily enough, though, I gotta say, when I wanted to experiment with growing this long beard, I put a thing out on my Facebook page and said, any tips? Okay, yeah, Dylan's sharing. Artistman.com. Sign up and get an immediate 10% discount code. But anyway, I said, hey, I'm going to try growing a long beard. Any tips? What products should I use? I hear there's something about a wooden comb, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people that commented were women in our neighborhood because Jeff is local to our area. And they said, I hear his stuff is amazing. And so then I was dropping my son off at one of these moms' houses for a slumber party. And she said, everybody in our neighborhood raves about his candles because he also makes candles. And if you don't have a beard, he has just like lotions and soaps. And so anyway, Artistman is awesome. Check him out. The scents are seriously good. So thanks, Jeff. Appreciate you, man.
Corey, are you a keep the sticker on the hat guy now?
Oh,
is that? Yep.
Nope.
Okay, that's cool. I was just wondering.
No, I'm not.
It's all right if you are. It's fine.
No, it's cool.
No, keep it on, dude. Keep it on. You do you. I'm not trying to tell you. Oh.
She gone. Anyway, so what's new, fellas? What's going on? What's happening? We have any updates? Anything? Any news? Geek culture news? Anything?
I have a quick one. I know from our From the Middlers live episode that everyone loves it when I talk Star Wars. So, quick announcement though. We've talked about Disney Plus. We've talked about the animated series, The Clone Wars, and there's Star Wars Rebels and Star Wars Resistance. Well, there is a group of misfit clone troopers from the Clone Wars episodes called the Bad Batch. And today we found out that Disney Plus is getting a series spun off called Star Wars The Bad Batch. And for some people who read the new logo wrong, they were very confused. But it is called the Bad Batch. And it's like, they're like, man, Star Wars is going in a weird direction under Disney. No, not that kind. So it's like the Dirty Dozen, like meets Star Wars.
Nice.
And so we don't know anything else about it yet, other than it's going to be on Disney Plus in 2021. I would think that they would continue the animated style that they had going in Clone Wars and continue that into the new show. We don't know yet, but I'm excited. Didn't ask for it, but I'm gonna watch it. So awesome. I don't know if anybody else is excited or like Star Wars news, but that was a little Star Wars news I geeked out over today.
That's very fun.
It's a Star Wars that you're saying?
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Wars. Yeah. Wars. Not to be confused with Star Trek.
Wars.
Which
is it like Star Trek?
Almost an identical storyline, which is
okay. So it's like it's like a new generation of Star Trek is the Star Wars.
Yeah, that's literally, I couldn't have described it better.
Star Trek, the Star Wars.
Getting angry.
Although one thing that you both should watch, there is a trailer for. I'm not subscribing to CBS All Access. But go watch the trailer for Star Trek The Lower Decks. It's animated like Futurama, and it's a animated comedy about the people that are the no-names on Star Trek ships. and how they're just like total just goofballs. I mean, it's exactly like, it's a totally different spin. It's called Star Trek Lower Decks. Go Google the trailer. Look it up on YouTube.
Lower Decks.
Decks, yes. Not to be confused with the Bad Batch.
Right.
Different things.
Careful Googling. Careful Googling.
Careful Google. Careful Google that one. Click that parental setting, whatever thing.
Turn that on first.
Yeah, you don't have to watch the show, but honestly, watch like the 2-minute trailer for Star Trek Lower Decks. It's just funny to see what they're doing with it. It's total departure from traditional Star Trek.
Fun.
So that's my update.
Kendall, anything from you?
I've been practicing my beatboxing lately. So that's supposed to be, I saw a video of a guy doing beatboxing, and he was trying to mimic a subwoofer in a car that's shaking a car. Mm-hmm. So that's what that is. I spit on you a little bit there, Dylan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll get it.
You got a little schmutz on your, yeah.
So I've had that
from dinner.
So you've had that going.
Had that going. Dylan gets to play the game. What's Kendall been drinking?
Yeah, what have you been drinking?
Backroom coffee still. Here's the coffee fuel inspiration.
Oh man, we're just all about the free advertising today, aren't we?
Yeah, I super miss you doing that every episode. Just so you know.
I can tell.
You know what I miss are what's that song you used to sing? Fact checks.
Yeah, we don't fact check anymore.
We don't fact check anymore.
Yeah,
not that we ever.
We didn't really. But
our version of fact checking was fact checking after we released the facts, and then we just. At first, we at least had the decency to follow up and say, "Hey, here's where we were wrong." We just don't care.
Nah.
So,
or we've been flawless for like the last 40 episodes.
Yeah, perhaps we've matured and we do our research on the front end and thereby only share information that we're sure is.
As far as some people know, yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yep.
That's exactly what we're doing. Okay, so here's a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Here's something that goes on in our house. If you want to call me for parenting advice, I'm glad to give it to you. We have 3 children. The oldest is 5, about to be 6. And then the twins are 4. They'll be 5 soon. And all 3 enjoy folding laundry on their own.
Praise be.
I had never asked them to fold laundry. They just want to fold laundry to the point that if they know that there is laundry in the washer that needs to go to the dryer, I will get reminded to go switch it. And as soon as I do, my work is done. They will get it out of the dryer. They will bring it into the family room. They will fold. I fold my own because I'm very particular and picky about how it gets folded. But
do they do it relatively well?
I mean, it's not great, but I mean, it's 4 and 5-year-old clothes. I don't. Who cares how well it gets folded? They're trying it. They're figuring out. Like, no two pairs of pants are folded the same way. Actually one of the twins he's the ringleader in the folding gang. He loves folding. He will finish his clothes and go on to someone else's. And he actually has developed a couple little systems for folding things. Even socks. Like, I taught them how I fold socks, and even like they got that. They all three can do that now. It's amazing. And here's the thing, though. At some point, that's going to stop. And I don't want it to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I need advice. Like, how do I keep it going? Already, like, it's to a point where, like, I play it up. Like, if it's like laundry day and there's laundry going and they've been asking me about it, like, the words, well, if you don't stop, I'm not going to let you fold laundry, come out of my mouth. So I'm already, like, playing it that way, like the reverse psychology thing.
Yeah.
Like, trying to keep it going. And this has been going on for a little while now that they've been folding laundry. I don't know. Super proud of my kids.
That's awesome. And the longer that you can keep that going, the better. Because you know how you get married and you kind of have the conversation like, okay, what's the one thing you really hate doing or really enjoy doing? And you just hope that those things complement each other when you both share.
Yeah.
Well, when we did the, like, what do you hate doing? We were both like, laundry at the same time.
I think that's most people. And also, like, I remember having this discussion one time. Like, I don't mind doing laundry. It's just the folding that I don't like to do. And I'm like, well, that's everybody, right? Like, when anybody who says they don't like doing laundry, they can push buttons on a thing. They don't care about that. They don't really mind too much the 30 seconds it takes to go from washer to dryer and push buttons.
Right.
What they mean by I don't like doing laundry is I don't like folding and hanging and putting away. That's what they mean.
So we usually have a master bedroom with piles of clean clothes ready to be folded that we just dig through when we want to get dressed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
fun. That happens quite a bit in our house too.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe my 2-year-old attempting to help with laundry. She does enjoy it. It's almost like, I'm going to set up a really bad analogy, but I think it might help.
Looking forward to it.
Imagine you had a really important plastic bag and you were carrying it out to your car on a windy day.
Is this a plastic bag from a grocery store?
Is it raining?
Sure. It's not raining. Not in this analogy.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So it's not going to implode?
No, this one won't, fortunately. So imagine this really important plastic bag on a very windy day starts to fly out of your hand, and you really don't want to lose this bag. So you're going to, like, scramble to, like, pull it back in. That's kind of how she looks folding clothes. Like, it's like ball, set it down, it's done. Like, body slam it on the bed, because she gets up on the bed because she wants to help us, like, fold while we're folding. So it's like ball, or like a squirrel, like what you imagine them, like, putting away all their food in a little hole would look like. That's kind of what her folding laundry looks like. So you're like, great, it's more wrinkled now. I'll just fold it and put it away.
But it's so cute.
It is, and I can't say anything because I want to be in Kendall's situation in 3 years where she's doing a decent job, but I don't want to discourage that. So I got to just go, thank you, and then immediately unball it and refold it and put it away.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I was very discouraging to my children when it came to laundry before, because nothing would upset me more than to ruin the clothes that I've already folded. And so That didn't happen in my house, but they still grew to love folding. So
There
I
you
don't
go.
know, man.
You just tell them good job, and you're on your way.
That's right.
I wonder though if you almost downplay it. Like, yep, that's just the expectation. This is just what we do. Like, I think what you're doing is working for now, but like at some point, I feel like that's going to max out.
I know it is, and I want to
Whereas-
avoid it.
Yeah. So if you start to almost downplay it now, like it's just an expectation of the household,
Yeah.
then I don't know, but you're making it fun and encouraging it. So that I just keep that going, I guess, and then just start paying them. I don't know.
Right. This is a whole thing that there has to be some middlers and people listening who have ways that they've coaxed, like the whole strategy behind getting your kids to do chores. Is this like brute tyrannical force and you're like, do it or I end you? Or like, was there reverse psychology? There's got to be stories that people can email, direct message, voicemail us. I'd love to hear them because there's got to be.
I can tell you what's worked for us so far with a 13, 10, and 5-year-old, and that is we don't call it chores. We call it teamwork, and it's just what you do as a part of the family. Like everybody has their teamwork list that they all tackle. So mommy has hers and daddy has his, and you guys have yours, and sometimes we'll incentivize you for it, and sometimes we won't. That's just part of what we do around here. So
Wow. That sounds like a summer camp. You guys are camp counselors at your
it's
kids
actually
your kids are always at summer camp
it actually works
with the
pretty
pool and everything.
yeah. So
It looks like someone finished the juice. If you kill it, you fill it. Go get more.
you want your mail? You better sing a song.
All right. So speaking of getting good jobs, let me see on the parenting track if this one's insulting. One time I don't like to hear good job. Let me paint another picture for you. My child is in the chair. Dinner is over. It looks like a piece of corn on the cob has exploded across the kitchen, and it's everywhere. And then I, wipe down the kid, wipe down the tray, all that, put all that away, get out the broom and dustpan, and I'm cleaning up now, just food everywhere. And I hear, "Good job, Daddy." And I go, "That's enough from you." Okay. Look, you created this mess and I'm trying to solve it. She's like, "Good job." Like, I don't need that right now. What I need is for you to go in the other room and not smush the corn with your feet on the ground while I'm trying to dust or clean it up. It's one time you just don't like hearing "good job." Maybe you do, but when you're cleaning up somebody else's mess, it feels a little insulting, even from a 2-year-old. So I don't know.
That's pretty funny. You guys popped over this weekend and we had a physically distant hangout in the backyard. It was so good seeing little Finn and well, you guys too, but
Yeah, I get it.
yeah.
Dads disappear at this age. It's fine. But yeah, it was a great time. It was good. We had mostly lovely weather, and it was nice to get out a little. It rained a little bit, but it was mostly really nice. It was nice to get out, go for a drive, get some fresh air, and hang out outside.
So I had a funny happening before recording tonight, and I thought these are two facts that happened to me at the same time that I think it's pretty safe to say have never happened to somebody else. While riding a motorcycle, I had the thought, I'd really like to be back in time for Abel's sisters not to close in Animal Crossing so I can see what outfits are available for the day.
Yeah.
And I thought, no one's ever been riding a motorcycle and thought, I really hope.
Did you pull over and walk home? Because that's what I would have done. I would have been, no, I can't be on this right now.
I can't do both of these things. I have to make a choice. But then I thought that's kind of what I love about, the big kid / trying to be an adult male. And that's very much what our podcast is, right? Like that whole idea of being kids ourselves, but also dads, but also into geek culture things. And some of us more than others, Kendall, I understand, but...
Well, and the fact that we're realistic about those things too, and don't go, yeah, it's totally normal that a video game thing cut off my real life priority.
I should really get back by 9 so that I could see what's in Abel's sisters before they close.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad I did, because they had a few items I was really looking for, and I had the bells to spend. Speaking of manliness, so we do all of episode 55, you guys, and as soon as we're done recording, and episode 55, if you didn't listen, was about sort of like turning in your man card moments, or moments that you felt like, I'm expected to know this thing as a guy, right? Like how to back up a trailer and how to drive stick shift and all those things. And I neglected to tell you guys the story behind why I had that idea. So, funny little story. So my friend and our pastor, Jerry, texted me one day and said, hey, we were having church on the lawn that coming Sunday. And he said some people came over and they were trying to be nice and they wanted to make the lawn look great and everything and plant some flowers and do some watering. The problem is they can't get the outside spigot to turn off. And I've got to leave. And so I need you to come over and handle it. And I said, well, I know nothing about that. So I can't help you. He goes, sorry, let me explain. A plumber's coming over. You literally just have to sit there. And I was like, that I can do, right? So he goes, the only problem is I don't know where the master water shutoff valve is in the church. I have no idea. I'm like, okay. So I'm going to be expected to go over there and figure that out. Anyways, separate from this story, we have a little group text between Jerry and another friend, Jeremy, and it's called The Eclectic Geek Ramblings, Nerd Culture News, and Humor of Jerry, Corey, and Jeremy, but mostly puns, unfortunately. I added the unfortunately part, right? So earlier in the day, a bunch of other messages had popped up in that thread, and Jeremy says, hey, I'm sorry I missed all this. I was in Lowe's facing my inadequacies in the manly art of construction and woodworking, because he was building a swing set in his backyard for his kids. I said, it's all good, bro. We all have to hand in our man cards from time to time with certain things. Remember, this is what spurned the episode. I said, like backing up with a trailer, driving stick shift, plumbing. And that was a little playful jab at Jerry, who is now having me hang out at the church, right? So Jerry said, this is Corey's polite way of saying that I had to call him in to handle a plumbing issue at church. And I said, correction, not physically, not handle. Sit here while someone else handles, like a real man. I brought my Nintendo Switch. Which is a true story. So here this guy comes from the plumbing company, and I've got my Switch in hand, and he's like, yeah, I'm here to fix the plumbing. And I said, yeah, we should probably locate the master water shutoff valve. And I felt like Tommy Boy when he goes, yeah, I'm just checking the specs on the inline rotary girder. Pretending like I knew what I was talking about while I was fully prepared to play Nintendo Switch. So, hey, that was a fun.
You're like walking through the basement with the guy, and you just like see a pipe running along the wall, and so you you just knock on it, ding ding. Yep, that one sounds good.
Could that be it?
I just imagine him like fixing something while you're sitting 4 or 5 feet away in a chair, kind of involved in the Switch. And he's finally going to break out of his comfort zone and go, all right, maybe I've seen my kids with one of these. Maybe I should just ask this guy. So, like, what are you doing in this game? And then Corey looks up and goes, I'm watering my tulips. And then he goes, shouldn't have asked, in his head, and goes back to fixing the pipe.
I've been saving all my bells for a frog costume. So anyway. Yeah, so that was a fun episode, you guys, if you want to go back and if you haven't heard episode 55.
Which I want to add one more time, because I'm proud of us for doing this. This is the only time you'll ever probably hear this. We took what was supposed to be a happy, silly, stupid, fun episode and turned it into something serious. turned it into a narrative on modern culture, and we'll probably never do that again.
Nopers.
From now on, it's going to be, we'll be right back to, someone starts opening up their heart and wearing their emotions on their sleeves, and as soon as it gets a little bit too serious, Dylan's going to come up with a fart joke.
It's true.
It's how we do.
It's how we do.
I'm just pooping. You know how I be.
What?
It's from The Office. It's fine. We can roll on.
Okay.
So speaking of kids, one of our loyal listeners is my 13-year-old daughter, Lily. And early in the episodes, and as we do often, we ask you guys to ask us questions. Anything you want to hear about? Do you have thoughts, topic ideas, suggestions, blah, blah, blah. So she started writing a list of questions. And I thought it would be fun if we just sort of rolled through some of my daughter Lily's questions to us, three guys, if you're willing. So you might be thinking, really? These guys are going to sit and answer one of their daughter's questions? Yes, we are. Because they're actually pretty good questions.
Yeah, and she's like listened to like every episode. So like there's thematic questions that she's thought of, and we've just handpicked them to go ahead and answer for her. So I sent them to you guys earlier. We don't have to answer all of them. Maybe we'll just go through and answer only the ones that you have a fun answer for. And I had to float some of them by her again and get clarification, because I'm like, Lily, some of these could get pretty serious. Like, what do you want? She's like, whatever you guys want to do. If you want to get serious, get serious. If you want to get funny, whatever. So pretty excited about it. So thank you for the questions, Lillian. I'll start with the first one. We'll just run down the list. What is something you wish you could forget?
This is one that I thought long and hard about this one, and I couldn't. I don't have an answer to the question. Something that I wish I could forget. I instead have some advice for young Lily.
Oh, that's sweet.
That right now you've gone through your life thus far for your 13 years, and there have been some times that were traumatic. There's been things that you've had to see that you might not have wanted to see, things that you've had to hear about that you didn't want to hear about. You've probably smelled things from your father's restroom that you did not want to smell. The older that you get, the more and more those little things start fading into the background. And not in a way necessarily that they just don't matter anymore, but the sting on them is gone. At least that's been my experience. So like the time that I was in grade school and pooped my pants, that is now a time that I look back on with, I would say, a warm that's how I would describe it. It's a warm because that was part of my life and I got through it. And it's part of what has made me who I am today. A guy who can't eat 24 hours before he gets on a plane because he's afraid that something might happen. That's what that's turned me into. If I'm going on a road trip with other people, I will starve myself because I don't want to have to have a restroom emergency, even if it's unlikely to happen. So those little things, they're just inconsequential. And I think you'll learn that as you get older.
Wow, well said.
Thank you.
That was an answer. I kind of took that a different direction than certainly Kendall, but also probably than she might have intended. And I think I wish I could forget having seen some of my favorite movies so I could watch them again as an adult.
Ooh. Look at that.
So I'm not a regretful person. Like I'm not a perfect person. I've made mistakes, but I also, as you get older, you do realize your mistakes have made you who you are. And so you don't necessarily regret them. You've just learned from them at a certain point. So I think the only thing I wish I could forget are the things I've enjoyed so much that I wish I could see it again as an adult and process it again as an adult for the first time. So what would it be like? Movie theaters post-COVID, when we all go back to theaters, they do this like Jurassic Park's been out 30 years. Go see it again in theaters. I'd love to go as an adult and see something like that for the first time, as if I had never seen it before, and enjoy it that way. And so it's something I would want to forget, but in a kind of fun and playful way.
I like how you took that, because when I asked for clarification, I said, does that mean like regrets? She goes, yeah, or like one of your favorite fast food restaurants tried something that was a total flop. I'm like, oh, like Taco Bell and shrimp.
Oh, yeah, that was a terrible idea. Those shrimp smelled awful. Anyways, yeah, I think that would be fun as a thing to kind of get to choose to forget and go back and live it again for the first time would be
That's
fun.
fun. That's a fun way to take it. Yeah, I went down the regret road, right? Like, so I'm like, Lily, how serious do we want to get here? Like,
are we talking today? Like my last text message, I regret my last text message.
I'm like, because I don't know that I'm ready to have some of these conversations with you. Because like at the end of my high school, my time in high school and then entering into college, there was a 2 or 3 year span where I was a pretty big jerk to a lot of people and did a lot of damage. And like, that's certainly not a season of life that I'm proud of, but to what both of you said in one way or another is those things actually shape you into who you are. And I've gone back and asked for forgiveness where it's appropriate from those people and have learned a lot from it. So I wouldn't want to forget it, because then I wouldn't have learned the thing that I've learned. Right. So it does make you who you are. But yeah, Dylan's answer, I want to watch movies again for the first time. Number 2, what is something you think the other two would do if you weren't there, either on the podcast or if they had like a hangout day?
I just imagined Andy and Dwight singing like Country Roads in the break room. If I wasn't there, like you'd both have your guitars out and you're trying to play. I don't know. Something like that. I don't know. Talking about beards. I don't know. I'm trying to take something moderately interesting and water it down, and then that's what you would do. So I don't know. Beards.
So wet beards?
Yeah. Is that something you're into? I don't know.
Watering down my beard?
No, I don't know, Lily. That's a great question. They're both very musically talented gentlemen. Maybe they would have a jam session when I'm not around.
That was my answer. If you weren't here and we were either hanging out, I think we'd be playing music or recording something. If Kendall wasn't here, we would go do a double feature at a movie theater and then do Taco Bell afterward.
Yes, easy.
Indeed.
Or the alternative to that is still Taco Bell, of course, but building Lego with music jamming in the background while we ate Taco Bell and built Lego would be another alternative without Kendall.
Yeah. So one thing, like I think, even just outside of the podcast, like you guys are brothers and I'm not one of those brothers, right? And so you guys, it happens.
Spiritually.
You guys,
you're just like a brother.
Whatever.
I know. Brothers with these
I know that you guys get together without me, and it sounds like you guys eat a lot of mashed potatoes when I'm not around.
What?
And quite frankly, I'm not happy about that.
Dude, if you're up for just literally sitting down to a vat of mashed potatoes,
yes.
Stop saying that.
I am game. Or a barrel. It could be a barrel or a
Let's
vat.
have a mashed potato party.
That's fine.
I'm gonna
all in.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that means something different.
No, it doesn't. It means exactly what you think it does.
It
involves a bathtub, all right? And
Anyways.
3 guys with spoons. I think definitely on the podcast, if I wasn't here, this would be. I feel like I'm the only one I think who like is keeping this podcast from being a Nerdist podcast. I think
That's
I think that if it wasn't for me, that man, that the deep dives on Star Wars and that kind of thing, it would be probably so much more interesting to a lot of people. But then there's this one idiot who's like, "What are you guys? What's that? What are you guys talking about there?"
No, I love that you keep us out of the weeds on that stuff. I mean, that's why you're so valuable to the chemistry of this thing.
And what about if Corey wasn't around? Because that would leave me and you.
Food, dude.
Yeah,
We
pizza.
talk- mashed potatoes and pizza.
Pizza. All right, I'm game.
Cool. If you could imagine the other two as a Disney princess,
I often do.
Mm-hmm.
who would they be?
So Kendall is for sure Moana. Didn't even have to think about it. I just felt it. And Corey's Tinkerbell. I don't know why.
It's the beard.
Yeah. Kendall, you just have this strong, independent, silent type Moana, and Corey.
God. Just
You need to watch.
You're just a flutter, and I don't know how to say it.
it's the
It's the
Is it-
pixie dust sound effect that you all know, and I'm doing the watch YouTube. This is why,
Is it-
because I'm doing
is it the show choir thing.
the thing. No, it's not that. It's a sound. I can't
It's a
describe
sound.
it any other way than it's a sound, and it's the pixie dust from Peter Pan. And he just. So there you go.
Dylan.
Dylan's Little Mermaid, by the way.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, this one's for Uncle Dylan. Do you ever wish you weren't a robot? Let me just ask these in succession. These are great. Do you ever wish you weren't a robot? Were you a robot as a child? If you're a robot, are the parts where you laugh a recorded voice of someone else? For Kendall and Dad, how do you do the podcast with him? For Uncle Dylan, or are you not a robot?
Look, those are all very fair questions, and I'm going to try to answer them one at a time, okay? Do you ever wish you weren't a robot? No. Were you a robot as a child? Kind of, yeah. The running joke used to be that somebody could run into the room and be like, "Dylan, the house is burning down." And I'd be like, "Okay." And I would just like walk out casually. So yeah, kind of, but not always. There's the answer to that question. If you are a robot, are there parts where you laugh a recorded voice of somebody else? Yes.
Are the parts of the podcast? Are those parts a recorded laugh of an actual human?
Where I'm laughing?
Yeah, on the podcast when you're laughing, is that actual somebody else's laugh that you're just pushing play?
Oh, I understand now. Great question. No, it's mine, but in a way, it's still not. And here's what I mean by that. Sometimes as an adult, people aren't good at telling stories. And you have to find a way to not make them feel bad. And you don't do it to be rude. You do it to be nice. And so sometimes, as an adult or when I'm selling all the time, your laugh is coming from your mouth, but it's not really your laugh. And you know it, but it happens. So you guys can answer the how do you do the podcast with me, and or are you not a robot? Not completely. It's sort of the hybrid, parts robot, parts human. Not completely.
Is it like an intermingled thing, or is it like a centaur kind of thing? And if so, which half is robot?
I don't care for that analogy. What did you centaur, minotaur? I don't know what you said. Anyways, I'd like to think of myself more as like Tony Stark. Like, it's a cool arc reactor because he's got shrapnel in him, so he's like a little bit robot, but like still super cool. I don't know. I didn't want to draw that parallel, but here we are.
Here we are.
So now you guys have to answer the question.
We made you do it.
Yeah. How do you do a podcast with me? That's her question. Yeah.
He is how we record the podcast, actually. We wouldn't have a podcast without him. We plug our microphones into the microphone holes, and we plug our headphones into the headphone holes. And that's how we record our podcast. So
he has a clear little window on his belly where the cassettes go. So, yep. Cool.
Covered those questions.
Yeah, every now and again we got to shovel pencil in there and reset them.
Turn it off and on again.
But someday we'll get a new Dylan, and we won't have to do that anymore.
And his name is Jeremy Kester.
It's only a matter of time.
Teasing. What do you think is the most common joke and why? And how do you feel about said joke?
I don't even understand that.
Just to clarify the question, of all the jokes,
Of every joke.
every single joke, which is the most common joke?
Yeah.
And how do we feel about the most common joke in the world?
How did the chicken cross the road? That one? That's what I'd say. I think that's the most common.
Right?
That's what I said. And she said,
Something.
yeah, like that. And then how
Okay.
do you feel about it?
I like it. I'm glad it exists. There's so many fun variations on that are also played out. That actually, how did the chicken cross the road has gotten to a point where it's like it's gotten played out several times. Like it's gone past played out to like just a thing, and then like those things get played out, and then they go even beyond that to where it's like it's not even annoying anymore.
Why are you saying how? You're saying, how did the chicken cross the road?
Did I say how?
Twice.
Whatever. Whatever. Why did the chicken cross the road?
You want to do the fact check song?
Fact check!
How does the song actually start?
Or why does
That
the
is it.
song actually
Yeah.
start? Okay. I didn't know I didn't know if you were talking about a different joke, like on his flags.
No, I was just misspeaking that whole time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So just the other day, I had heard and regurgitated. I might be funny, but I'm not very creative. Regurgitated a pickup line joke to my wife the other day, which was, "Why did the chicken cross the road?" And then she said, "I don't know why." And I said, "To get to the hot lady." And then I said, "Knock, knock." And she said, "Who's there?" "The chicken." So anyway,
Cute.
yeah. So that's
So you like it?
I like it. I'm a fan of it.
Right.
Hey, I got a good little street joke for you.
Okay.
I heard it on Bad Friends the other day.
Okay.
So Grasshopper walks into a bar, and the bartender goes, "Oh my God, we have a drink named after you." And he goes, "You have a drink named Steve?"
I like it.
I
I
laughed.
like it. I'm gonna. The world needs kid jokes. Jokes that I like. I can tell my kids, and I'm gonna tell my kids that joke because they'll go. They might actually get it and think it's funny.
I laughed
I have-
way too hard and way too long at that.
I like it.
But I
Right.
messed it up the first time I told it, and I said, "A giraffe walks into a bar." But a giraffe doesn't sound like a drink name. A grasshopper sounds like something you could order at a bar.
It is something you can order at a bar.
Is it?
Yeah.
Cool. So now
it's an actual. A grasshopper is an actual drink. Yeah.
I'm learning so much right now.
Okay.
So I thought it was funny without even knowing. Anyway,
That story just got better.
Lily, I hope that's what you were looking for with that one. Oh, here's a good one. What is something that as soon as you see it, you want to immediately run in the other direction? Let's not say run because, well, we know us, don't we?
First of all, yeah, we don't run in.
You avoid slowly.
That almost felt like such a good question that it was so big that I couldn't think of a good answer. Other than the only thing that came to mind was, assuming it's not runaway, but that's not literal, like it could be get away in any way. I was thinking anytime you see a total traffic stop ahead of you and you're like, oh, I just want to yank the wheel and turn around and go home. That was the only thing I could think of where I just went, ugh, I don't want to deal with that.
I would say acquaintances in public places.
Mm-hmm.
If I see you all the time and we're good friends, I'll probably be excited to see you in public enough to say hi. If I kind of know you and see you sometimes, it's like for some reason I have this just like nature thing in me that wants to like avoid you, and I will leave the store as soon as possible.
Yep.
Because I don't want to have to talk to you. Because I don't know what to say. Don't know what to do. I'm uncomfortable altogether. What if I have to poop?
Look, that's always a very real concern. I just want you to know we hear you and we love you and it's going to be okay. But what's the line when somebody goes from acquaintance, don't know what to say, leaving the building, to friend, oh, I'm probably going to want to say hi.
Oh, I don't know. Hey, if you know me and you're listening to this podcast, don't worry. It's not you.
What if you saw me?
That's my answer.
What if you saw me in the store, COVID aside? Would I be like it's Dylan?
No. You would be hey, Dylan.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So at least I'm good. I don't care about the rest of you. But
if the urge struck, he knows you well enough to be like, hey, bro, I gotta go talk to a man about I gotta
go see a man about a horse.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go order a grasshopper.
You guys, that's an actual drink.
Yes. Hey guys, I've been playing with this mostly used thing of super glue and accidentally like poked a hole somehow in the side of it and like temporarily glued my fingers to it, and I was scared. But now I don't have fingerprints, so I'm going to commit crimes tonight.
This is a real discussion we're having.
There you go. For me, the answer would be anytime there's a special table with a special tablecloth and a very smiley person in a store who's going to sell me something in that store, or people with flyers or solicitors in general. I just don't want to have that conversation. You guys remember when I told you the story of the guy on the hoverboard that had the stick like that goes up to your knees? Yeah. And he like, now that we have video, we can do this. So he swung around and then he saw my no soliciting sign and then he went.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, not that guy, but another guy was in our neighborhood with a hoverboard and totally ignored the no soliciting sign, and it made me angry. Rang the doorbell multiple times, and I wanted to go up to the little window by the door and just point to the no soliciting sign.
Yeah, that's what.
So I avoid those people. Hi, sir. Can I tell you about? No. No.
Yeah. In a different life, any of the kiosks in the mall in the center of the walkways, you generally want to steer towards the wall and like lean to the wall as you walk. None of those people are up to any good. None of them.
I once had a fingernail buffed by a sponge because I couldn't say I don't know how to handle those situations.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't buy anything though. I got a free shiny fingernail out of it.
You stayed strong.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
Yeah.
Some of those people just don't give up though. So I wonder like what the one thing that you could do is that they've never encountered before.
Tell them that you got to go see a man about a horse.
Yeah, I think pretty much if you tell any of them you're about to poop your pants, they're gonna probably let you go.
That is, guys, that is what you do.
Wow.
That is what,
We just figured it out.
Whether they're at your door or in the middle of a shopping mall, you're like, I have diarrhea.
No, I'm having it right now.
Just run away.
Lily, we just saved you a lot of time.
Do the straight leg toe shuffle all the way out of there.
Oh, that's funny.
All
right, this next one is one of Sherry's favorite questions to ask, so I think that's where Lily got it, and I love it. What food do you wish was healthy?
I have a variation of this I'm going to follow up with when we're done that we've played many times. Okay.
So you get to choose one food, let's say item, not a whole food group. You get to choose a food item, and that food item is automatically healthy. It's good for you.
As in, like, the more you eat, the healthier you get? The quantity rule gets thrown out the window?
That's what you're saying.
Negative calories if you keep eating it? Can it be that awesome?
It's just a healthy food. It's a food that's good for you, even if it's not. You get to pick.
It's less fun now.
I think what would serve me...
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
I think what would serve me best if I just said cheeseburgers as a category. Because the option, it's still one item, but everywhere serves them, and I'm going to enjoy it almost everywhere that serves it. So just the cheeseburgers. Because then if the only thing bad I'm eating is the fries, it's fine. So
I can Lipitor those away.
I'm going to say cheeseburger as an item.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, my answer's pizza. I didn't even have to. It's not even
Donut.
hard.
Mine's donut.
Yeah.
Sherry's is Mountain Dew. She's like, if I could make Mountain Dew healthy.
Separate question, but very related. And I've asked this before. If you could pick any one drink that your body would treat like water, but it tasted exactly like it does now, I think mine would be Mountain Dew.
Mine would be Mountain Dew too, yeah.
If I could just, like, literally as soon as it, like, post taste buds, it's like water to your body, then yeah, I think I'm going Mountain Dew because it's versatile, ice cold, summer, fall, holidays, good with everything.
That's 3 for Mountain Dew, folks.
Yes.
If this isn't the Midwest show from the Midwest, I don't know what.
Why is that associated with, like, rednecks, Mountain Dew? Did we talk about this before?
Go to Ohio Valley and you'll find 2 things. Apparently, you'll find pizza with cold cheese on it, and you will find, like, Mountain Dew in baby bottles down there. It's everywhere.
There's a heavy overlap between fans of racing and Mountain Dew and gamers in Mountain Dew.
Mm-hmm.
And you could swing between categories. Like, depending on the clothes you're wearing and how you speak, you'll fall on either side of Mountain Dew, but you still got Mountain Dew in the middle. And both of those are very likely to have at least 3 or 4 empty Mountain Dew bottles, 20-ounce bottles, on the floor of their car.
Truck.
Or truck. 6 of 1. Doesn't really matter. But it's very likely.
See, I think it's Monster. I see those Monster
Rockstar
and Rockstar hats, and you collected all of the tabs to get yourself a pretty sweet jacket.
Yeah.
I think we've discussed this before, but I think the overlap of marketing demographics between Taco Bell, Doritos, and Mountain Dew is like 98% the same demographic. And so there's a certain stereotype that falls in the middle of those 3 circles that
Venn diagram.
Yeah. Of that Venn diagram. Yeah, there's a certain sweet spot there. I'm in it. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm in it. Oh, man.
Okay. What is a pet peeve or freak flag of one of your family members?
Okay, go ahead, Kendall. Go ahead.
No. I was actually just literally going to say I need to sit and listen so that I can maybe be inspired because it's hard for me.
I did think of one, and I'll say it's not somebody in my household, so I'm not throwing my wife under the bus on this one. but I do have a family member who is not able to tell you left or right when giving directions while driving. You have to point with your finger, because very smart person, but not able to very quickly think of the terms left and right. That's like the only thing that I've ever noticed. There's like a weird block in their mind, and that's a thing. And I've been driving with this person, and you're like, oh, go left, and they're like, point. Yeah, you've got it. So you gotta like this way, like that way, like you're on a coin in a museum, like, you know, as a commemorative, you know, explorer. But yeah, that was a kind of a funny one that I thought of.
Oh man.
See, I probably should have given this one some more time, because I could come up with some really good ones and would probably have to ask some permission.
Yeah. So my wife, who is, I will give the same disclaimer that Dylan gave, a very brilliant person. She is the smartest person I know, and but I like to play a game with her sometimes in our home. And so say we're in the basement.
You're in the basement.
Thank you, Dad. So we're in the basement, and I ask her, all right, I want you to point toward the living room. And she can't do it. Like, she's gotten better, but like, we've been in this house for like 6 years, and it's still a struggle for her to, like, if we're on a different floor, she can't tell you the orientation of where like the front of the house is, or anything else. And it's so funny to me. Like, it just is. So, probably a lot of people have that same problem. It might sound like a weird little game, but I think it's fun.
That is fun.
Or I even just tell her, like, all right, so you just went down into the basement, you went down the steps, and you're at the very bottom of the steps. I want you to tell me where's the front door. And like, she'll think about it for 30 seconds and then get it wrong. It's funny. I love you, Amy. You're the best.
That's a good segue. What is something you don't do because your spouse doesn't appreciate it?
Originally, I don't talk about my spouse on the podcast ever.
Originally, this question said, what is something you don't do because you're married? And I said, wait. She goes, no, like how mommy doesn't like it when you say Ralph when you burp. I go, oh, okay. So things that you do be out of respect for something that your significant other doesn't like. She goes, yeah, that. So the Ralph story is Dylan and I's Uncle Kevin, when he would burp, he would say the word Ralph throughout the length of the burp.
Okay.
And then that would be followed by Smith is my uncle's father, because his uncle's father is Ralph Smith. So he would that was a thing. And we heard him do that. And to this day, other than when Sherry's around and I burp, I go, Ralph. And yeah, so that's something I don't do. That was Lily's example. So what are yours?
Literally last night, lying in bed, I very kindly, like as if I'm my own PR representative for myself, told my wife, do you realize that I just held in 2 farts since the time that we've been talking? I did that because of you. So
I like how you said as your own PR representative.
Oh, that's funny. I eat so much less food out of cans than directly out of the fridge. So much less. She's not a fan of the smell, like certain smells of things. So like, I really don't like a lot of canned food anyways, but like as a quick meal, I might occasionally get a can of like shredded chicken and just like, oh, I'm just going to open this, throw some mayonnaise in it, throw it on bread or something and make a sandwich. Like that smell just messes her up of the canned chicken.
Interesting.
And so it's like a smells thing, which probably for her is normal, and I smell nothing. But that's one that, like, yeah, probably a lot less canned things. Things not fully prepared as they're intended to be prepared. Maybe
Sure.
that's the way to say it.
Lily knows this answer, and we've talked about it on the podcast. I'm pretty sure that Sherry has misophonia, which is the hatred, and I want to immediately throat punch people who I hear chomping ice or chewing something, or it's not even just noises. If I'm across the room fidgeting in any way, like, she zeroes in on it instantly. So any sort of like noises or fidgets or scratching or picking or anything that I'm doing, she zeroes in on, and I feel like I'm in a straitjacket when I because I'm a very fidgety person. I'm always like, I'm playing with something or messing with something,
picking at your feet.
Thank you, Kendall. So
Welcome.
picking a toenail or scratching, or just whatever. Like, I'm a gross guy, and I'm fidgety, and I make noises, and she hates almost all of it, and I love her.
You said the noise thing, because I immediately thought of being kids old enough to be up at times later than our parents, sitting out in front of the TV, barely able to hear what's happening, and 40 feet away, the parents open the door and go, "Turn it down," and we're going, "How can you even hear it?" Like, we're this close, like straining to hear the thing that we want to watch, and they're 40 feet away, and it's carried, and they can hear it, and they're like, "There's not even any point in watching this. We can't even hear it."
Yep, that's true here too. Sherry will text me, "Can you please turn it down?" And it's like WWE or whatever. I'm watching a movie that I know she wouldn't like, action movie with gore or whatever. I was watching the new Rambo movies the other day, right? The two new ones. And same thing, could barely hear it. Like, what? I'm just going to put in my headphones and just Bluetooth to the Apple TV so I can actually hear what's going on in the movie.
Much better.
She just yelled down to the basement. They were slaughtering a village. Oh, that's pretty funny. Thanks for
that. Is disturbing.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty disturbing, actually. For that, I said I haven't watched like really grotesque action movies in a while, but that was tough to watch. Like, kids, and it was bad. What character from a book, movie, or TV show do you relate to the most? Well, John Rambo. No, go ahead.
Ender Wiggin from Ender's Game.
Ender's Game.
And not the boy Ender Wiggin. This is where I think I've mentioned it once or twice on the podcast. I want people to read more of those books, and so that I have people to talk to about them. The Ender Universe books. Ender's Game being just the first of them. Anyway, that little boy in Ender's Game grows up to be a man, and the man Ender Wiggin is a fascinating human being. I think it's more of like my ideal self would be more like him, kind of like who I want to be. He's just he's really direct with people. He doesn't beat around the bush with anybody, but he's so thoughtful. He thinks about everything all the time. And like, there's not a word that comes out of his mouth that hasn't been very well thought through. And he's known as like a very fair-minded person. Everybody, good, bad, indifferent, like everybody trusts him. And so that's, in some ways, that's what I strive to be, is somebody that everybody can trust, regardless of their overall opinion as to whether or not they like him, and then also someone who overthinks his own words, and then beats himself up afterward, and constantly thinks about how he could have done it better. So that's also part of Ender Wiggin. That's something that I actually do. Do.
Are the are those is that series appropriate for 13-year-old kids?
Uh,
Because I think Lily would love those.
that's you might want to read one.
Okay.
I don't think I would think I think my personal opinion would be 13-year-old kids. Yes, read them. Not every parent might think that way.
Okay.
There's a little bit of profanity in them, not much, but there is some.
She did the Hunger Games books, and she loves long series. So I think the fantasy series, yeah. So sounds like
Ender's Game, and it's still alive. Like he's writing them now. There's titles that he's still working on.
Okay.
There's like 20 books.
Okay, Lily, I'll pre-screen them and then we'll let you know.
So it's a really cool science fiction story. I like it.
Dylan?
Man, there's like I'd like to think character, and then there's like, but probably more.
Okay, yeah.
Give us both.
So I'd like to think Steve Rogers, Captain America. I'd like to think that. Not physically, obviously, but just personality, how he views the world and people around him. What he believes in, what he stands against. I'd like to think that. It's probably more like the worst parts of like Frasier and Chandler and Ross from Friends and Michael Scott. And it's probably those. But I'd like to think in the best version of me would be like Steve Rogers. I don't know. Those are some characters that, because she didn't say who are you, it's who do you relate to.
Yeah.
I think is the question. Relate doesn't always mean I am or I am just like. But I watch a lot of character-driven dramas and a lot of funny sitcoms, and so those are going to be the two things that I pull from the most. And there are certainly some aspects of the Frasier character that I love and find hilarious and endearing. And Friends and The Office and all of those. But yeah, there you go. That's my best guess.
So we have a little shared note that we work from on ideas for episodes, and one of them that I've entered into that list that you guys have never really asked about is that Glee, the TV show Glee that was on Fox back in the day, is based on my life, which is a joke. However, for that season of my life, the character Finn Hudson on the show, there was an uncanny amount of things that were carbon copy 1-for-1 things that happened to me and him in the show, which we will talk about in a future episode. Nobody cares about Glee anymore. However, because the show was based on Lima, Ohio, the town nearest our hometown, where there was anything to do, being from Ada, Lima was the nearest town. And because the director based so much of that show off of what he observed when he would visit family in Lima, Ohio, there's a crazy, uncanny amount of things that are true for Finn Hudson and myself. That's not who I am today, but for those chapters of life, it was.
Today you're Tinkerbell.
Yeah, today I'm Tinkerbell. Back then, I was Finn Hudson, or Finn Hudson was me. Yeah, that's a good question. And finally, wrapping up the episode with perfect timing. Lily, thank you so much for these questions. These have been really fun.
This is fun. I like this.
If you could make one of your fears disappear, which fear would it be?
When you're young, or I won't speak for everyone. When I was young, something that you're afraid of is failing at something, trying it, not being good at it, failing at it in front of other people, looking silly. That's something that you're very aware of. Failure means something different when you get older. Sometimes, especially when you have a family, sometimes failure can mean not being able to take care of your family, which is a very different kind of failure than feeling silly. It's a type of failure that you want to take care of your loved ones, and you might not be able to if you fail. And sometimes that's, you need just enough, you need a little bit of that as kind of a guardrail, but you also need a little less fear of failing to sometimes be able to do something great, or to be able to make an impact on a person or people. And so I think sometimes if you could eliminate some but not all of that fear of failure, we could all push ourselves a little bit further with things we want to accomplish. But when you're an adult and you've got other people to think about that you're there to kind of support and be there for, it's different. It's different than, and I'm not demeaning what kids go through, because I remember feeling like the kind of failure that you would thought you might experience in school was very real and very big. But if you do something silly in front of your classmates on accident, you fall and you hurt yourself and you make yourself, what you feel look like a fool, is way different. When you're older and you look back on that, it feels way different than the kind of failure of not being able to take care of the people you care about. So a little bit less of that, but not all of it, I think would be good. Great question.
Mine's closely related to yours, so I'll go next. And that is just that I think all this crazy overthinking I do is certainly a form of fear. And so to just dive in sometimes and figure it out, like within reason. You don't want to go busting up walls.
Baby steps.
But yeah, all that exhausting overthinking and the what ifs and just get in there. You'll figure it out. The worst you could do is, have an unlevel pool. Just dig into it. And so, yeah, the overthinking, if I could eliminate that, that would be great.
And I would, going some parallel to those lines, would be, I have this constant fear of being misunderstood. Which does a number of things to me. First of all, it means that a lot of times I don't say things that I want to say or should say, just because I think they're going to get misconstrued, or I don't give the person sitting across from me enough credit to understand what it is I'm trying to say or where I'm coming from. So I'm so afraid sometimes of that, of just questions will go unasked if I say the wrong thing. Another thing that does is sometimes it makes me ramble and over explain, and that creates this loop of just, if I'm talking about something serious that's really important, I'll just start explaining it away over and over and over again, to the point that I'm going to start regretting some of the other things that I say. And then I get wrapped up to the point where it's like my mind isn't really thinking about it anymore. I'm just ranting at some point. And anyway, I don't like that. I want to not be so afraid of being misunderstood. Yeah.
That was a good one. And those were all very close. Thank you for sharing. I feel like I have some of that one too. Lily, these have been fun questions. Thank you for listening to our little podcast. But listen, kiddo, of all the things that I will ever create, you and your siblings are by far the best. And outside of God and your mom, you and your siblings are my favorite things on this planet. So thank you for listening. But this podcast is just a silly little thing that I do with your Uncle Dylan and our dear friend Kendall. So you're way more important and way more fun. And I appreciate you and love you. And it was fun to answer your questions. So thank you. And thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in for this week's edition of From the Middle. We are all over social media at From the Mid Pod. We would love for you to join our Facebook group that we have called From the Middle for the Middlers. Follow our Facebook page as well, the regular From the Middle page. We share a lot of stuff that we talk about on that page links to things and trailers and videos, and there's a whole different level of communication going on there. We still have stickers available if you guys want to get some From the Middle stickers. Thank you again to Artistman and Jeff for getting us these cool hats. And anything else, guys? Did I cover it all?
No.
I've been working on my beatboxing lately.
You have? I feel like we talked about this. But I do want to hear more.
It's your boy.
Have a good week.